Hi class, this is the chapter 3 and 4 review of To Kill a Mockingbird. So for those of you who haven't done the chapter 4 homework yet, but you're watching this video, good for you, because it will be a lot easier to do after you watch just a few things that I have to say about chapter 3 and 4. Okay, so in chapter 3, we know that Scout beats up Walter because basically she thinks he's the reason why she got in trouble with Miss Cunningham, but really it's because Scout spoke up for Walter. And so Jem feels bad for him, and so he invites Walter over for dinner. We learn that Atticus has been helping out Walter's family and doesn't make them pay for legal advice. Instead, they kind of pay him back with gifts of food and things like that. So they barter basically for things that they need because they're so poor. And when Scout has Walter over for dinner, she's completely disgusted because Walter pours what they call molasses, but it's actually syrup all over his food because molasses is a treat, and not a lot of people would have that at that time. And so Scout's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And Calpurnia brings her into the kitchen and yells at her and tells her, like, "You can't treat people that way. You can't judge him. You should. He's a guest in our home. You have to treat him with respect." Then the next day, Miss Caroline is completely grossed out because there's a cootie in Burris Yule's hair, but actually it's not a cootie, it's lice. And so we find out that he has lice, and we also learn a lot more about the Yule family. And so does Miss Caroline, because we learn that basically, even though he's only in first grade, he's in first grade for the third time, and he's a mean little boy. And we learn that that's because he doesn't have a strong family. He can't read or spell. He only comes to school one day a year just to say he was there. But then after that, they don't chase him down, and he's just allowed to not go to school anymore. And obviously, he swore at Miss Caroline, which was a big moment because he's only in first grade. So when Scout gets home that day, Scout says she hates school. She doesn't want to go to school anymore because Miss Caroline told her she couldn't read with Atticus anymore, and she keeps getting in trouble at school because Miss Caroline doesn't understand the kids. So Atticus says, "Listen, you need to learn something very important." And this is when they're talking about Walter and the Yules, and Walter's the Cunningham, and then also the Yules. He says, "First of all, if you can learn a simple trick, Scout, you'll get along a lot better with all kinds of folks. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." So that's a really powerful moment because it shows you how Atticus is as a person. He actually works hard to try and understand other people's point of views, and so he's trying to teach his daughter to do the same. And that's also the time when Scout learns that the Yules kind of have their own set of rules in the county. Mostly everyone just feels really bad for Mayella Yule because she's the only girl in the bunch, and her father is a drunk. She doesn't have a mother, and Mayella just takes care of all these kids that are running around without an education. They're not clean, they don't have all that they need because of the fact that their father is an alcoholic, and there's no mom. So then we move into chapter 4, where we see a little bit more happening with Boo Radley. Scout finds a present in a tree in front of Boo Radley's house in the knot hole of the tree, which you kind of see in this picture here. And they start finding presents more often in the tree. And Dill and Scout and Jem spend the whole summer pretending to be the Radley family and play like the game, like we're going to make Boo come out. But Atticus got really upset with them because they were playing this game, and he doesn't want them playing with scissors. And Scout said she also wanted to quit the game because she had heard someone laughing inside the Radley house on the day that she rolled inside a tire into the yard. So basically, she feels like she's being watched anyway, and so she doesn't really want to play the game anymore. But again, this kind of adds to the whole legend. But you have to think of it like if you're Boo Radley and you're kind of a shut-in, and you see these little children always playing near your house and playing games and stuff, that might be pretty funny to see. And then we also have to wonder, like, who's giving them these presents. It's, during the time of the Great Depression, so people didn't have expendable income. So the fact that they find these Indian head pennies, they're really excited about that. They find bubble gum. So they keep finding all these gifts in the tree. So we have to wonder, like, who's actually doing that? And the chances are it's Boo Radley. Okay, so that's a summary of chapter 3 and 4. Go ahead and make sure you do the chapter 4 Ed puzzle, and have a good weekend. Let me know if you have questions.